Hey, everybody, welcome to Baggage Claim. This is our podcast where we're just hoping to create some community and conversation around the idea of blended families. We are tonight sitting around our kitchen table with wires everywhere, candles going, maybe our favorite drink. Just going to sit back and introduce ourselves to you and tell you how we even got to where we are in this blended family thing. Jess and I have been married for 12 years this year, actually going on 13 in October. So we're really excited about that.
I'm so proud of you for knowing that.
Thank you so much. So we want to just jump in and help try to create some conversations around this crazy journey of, man, raising kids in this crazy world, but raising them in a blended family, co-parenting, all the fun stuff that no one really talks about, but we want to talk about. We read a statistic one time that said 70% of second marriages end in divorce, and that's insane, and it scares us to death. And Jess and I have come in contact with so many couples over the years that we've helped mentor, talk to, that struggle with the same things, and we've realized that, man, in this journey of blended family, raising a blended family, we all share a lot of the same struggles. So we want to try to help create some conversations around that, have people on that can maybe speak into some of these things, maybe people who are smarter than us and have some more road behind them than we do. But also, too, we want to talk about how we got to where we are. And so Jess, which is the better half of this couple, is going to share her story of how we even came to the point where we met. So before we jump into that, though, I want you to just kind of pull up a chair, grab your drink, if it's apple juice, water, whatever it may be, your favorite beverage, depends on how your day's going, and just relax, pull up to the table with us, and let's just have a conversation. So with that being said, Jess, you want to jump in and kind of introduce yourself and tell us how it all got started?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jess.
Hey, Jess.
I'm 46 years old now, and when it all began, I married my first husband when I was 21. His name was TJ, and we were high school sweethearts. So by the time we got married, we had been together for 4 years. And then it didn't take us long to want to start a family. So we welcomed Thomas, our first child, when I was 23. And then our second child, Aaron Grace, when I was 25. And those two now are, Thomas is 23 years old and Aaron Grace is 20. TJ was a full-time ministry. He was a youth pastor at a church near where we live now. He did that full-time for 11 years.
We live in Gainesville, Georgia, actually, by the way.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if that matters, but go ahead. Sorry, meaning to interrupt you.
It's okay. So as his ministry time was coming to a close, he and two other gentlemen opened a truck brokerage business that is actually still in business today, 14, 15, almost 16 years later. Really proud of those guys. So in the meantime, during all of that, he had developed a new hobby of mountain biking, which turned into also an interest in road cycling. And when I lost my train of thought, developed an interest in road cycling. And on his first long distance ride, he was actually hit by a car and he passed away immediately. And at that time, Thomas was 9 and Aaron Grace was 6 and I was 32.
Wow. Wow, we went really deep, really quick. So, okay. So, all right. So very traumatic. Mm-hmm. Now, at the time, the guy, tell everybody, because the friend that got him into road biking was actually good friends with you guys from church, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Tell them that kind of story of those and how they walked.
They did. They walked through with that with me. I'll just use their first names. Chad and Lisa. We were very good friends with them. Like our families would do things together and we were in church together. And when we lost TJ, Chad and Lisa literally came alongside me and walked with me through life to help me remember to put one foot in front of the other. And let me get emotional.
That's okay.
Yeah. Because this many years later, I don't think they realized how much that meant to me, and still does. But they had an extra bedroom in their house that they moved me into, and there was space upstairs where my kids could go and my little stinky puppy dog. And
Which we still have.
we still have. She's 100,000 years old. But those two literally led me through life for a good year, because I didn't want to. I couldn't even think thoughts that made sense in a string to do. They helped me raise my kids for a little while and helped me, like I said, put one foot in front of the other.
So tell me about your job. Like, what did you do during this time? Like, what were you doing
I was a media clerk at an elementary school where my kids were going, a Spanish immersion academy. And Chad and Lisa's children also went there too, which was really convenient because we could all do life there too together, at church, at home, at school. Our girls were in karate together. It was wonderful.
Nice.
Yep.
And so you've told me stories about your your widow class that you went to. Because I understand it's very helpful for a lot of people.
It is. At our church, there was a support group, Grief Share. Now I remember the name of it. It's called Grief Share, and it is for widows and widowers.
No, we're not knocking Grief Share anywhere it is. Please.
We're not.
It's always good to share grief and be a part of that.
It is, which is why I went.
Yes.
For me, at that point in my life, being 32 years old, and most of the members of the group, which are precious, and I'm still friends with some of them, were double my age. And they were in the years of their life where they were comfortable and all shared an equal understanding of this is where we are and we're okay with that.
So were they looking to remarry, move on?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Gotcha.
I went for several months, and when I came to the realization of that's where they were, not to say that I was ready to immediately find a new husband and do something else, but I just knew for my age, that was not appropriate for me.
Gotcha.
I would tease and say I didn't want to be in the Widows R Us Club because I didn't want that to be my label. Right. I was too young, and I knew that God had to, at some point in this, have some kind of plan.
Now, you're Christian, right, at this time?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just make sure. Okay.
I became a Christian when I was 12.
Gotcha. Perfect.
So.
Cool.
I went to counseling for 2 years, a counselor through the church, and he helped me face some hard realities that I never had to think about before, that God does allow things to happen even when they don't make sense. And I became comfortable with the fact that it's okay that I'm mad at God because he knows why I am and he can take it.
Okay, so because I want us to do an episode that digs into all the details of that at some point. What got you to the point where you were ready to say yes to this hunk of a man sitting across the table from you?
One thing my counselor said, he said, you're going to know you're ready to date when you've got everything in order, you've got your feet firmly under you, you're doing life, and you don't want somebody else to come mess it up.
Wow.
And then I met you for coffee.
I would say you were totally that person that's like, I don't need a man in my life right now. That's the vibe I got when I first met you. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
All right. So that was kind of the point for you when you realized you weren't looking.
Mm-mm.
It just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that was 2 years after?
2 years after, yeah. 2.5-ish, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that story, mine's a little different.
Different.
A little bit different. I'll share the quick story of I didn't grow up in a Christian home. Became a Christian when I was 21. I was running from everything. I grew up in kind of a broken home myself. My mom remarried, stepdad, awesome dude. My mom and my grandfather are probably the way I am because of who I am today.
And your uncles.
Yeah, my uncles. Those guys kind of drug me through life. Stepdad, just like they were the men and the dads and the fathers in my life. And and taught me a lot of hard lessons and fun lessons. And then my mom just led me through all the junk I put her through. But anyway, became a Christian at 21, fell in love with God, walked away from crazy life I was living. Basically got permission from my probation officer so I could go on a mission trip. Sounds weird to say that in one sentence, but it's kind of where I was at
It's
in life.
all part of your story.
Yeah. So my probation officer was stunned, to say the least, but allowed me to leave the country, which is kind of crazy. So I did. I came back, and God changed me on that trip. And so I came back and said, I'm going into ministry. Started getting involved in the church, wound up getting a job, part-time job at a church, local church here. And then wound up doing student ministry there for about 8 years. That's where I met my first wife, Stacy. And so she had grown up it was completely different, grown up in church, been in church her whole life. Her whole family was very great Christians, great family. And then here I am. Luckily, my probation officer did let me, when I came back, I shared my faith with him, and he kind of let the rest of my probation go. And I just paid my fines and I was done, which was kind of phenomenal. But anyway, that's me stepping into her family. So we started dated for about 2 years, got married in the church where I became a Christian. So I had a lot of history and a lot of...
This is also where you did ministry.
Yeah, actually, I was doing ministry there, working there. She was working there too, in the church. So we were married for 15 years. We were married in 96. We had 2 amazing kids, Callie and Cody. I'm not as good with ages because I forget my age all the time too.
Callie is about to turn 25.
Yes.
And Cody's 22.
Right. So amazing kids. So needless to say, we were married 15 years. My short story, I had done ministry for a long time, stepped out of the church with a best friend of mine. We started some businesses together, and just traveled the world, had a blast together, had fun. Some things that happened, just hardships of raising kids in life. And then my marriage came to an end because of infidelity, I guess is how you say that.
Not on your part.
Well, not on my part, correct. But it's not there's no hard feelings. There's actually none at all toward them. Love them and want the best for her and her husband. Really do. I can't tell you the amount of nights that even Jess and I had spent praying for them and praying for their marriage and for their kids and their family, just so that they would prosper and grow. And so there's a lot in that. But so after being married for 14 years with 2 kids, had 2 companies. The company's my best friend was also my brother-in-law. So needless to say, it created lots of interesting situations. And so I was owner of those 2 companies. One thing led to another. I'm divorced, and I and my business partner, a longtime friend of mine, still consider him a friend. We don't talk much, rarely, but kind of lost 2 companies and a family, all really relatively close within a year of walking through all of those things. So it was to say it would be a dark time for me would be probably an understatement. Because some of those things did happen in my house. So the house kind of held a bad mystique. There were times where it was a little different than yours. You were mourning the loss. I was kind of mourning the loss of something that I wanted to fix but couldn't fix. And there were times where, and these aren't the right things to do. I wouldn't go in my house. I would just sit on the front steps, and sometimes I would fall asleep. Which is not, it's not the brightest time in my life. Sometimes, I mean, honestly, there were times where I probably drank too much and just laid in my garage or slept in my truck in that driveway of my house. It's a 5-bedroom house, so it had plenty of places. I just didn't want to go in. because I felt like I was facing something within me. But then I had a friend similar to what you had. Pull my stuff together here.
You're making me cry. I can't stand to see you upset.
Damon, who just came into my life. It's crazy through a friend who said, "Hey, here's a guy who's walked this path with you. Give him a call." And I remember sitting in the parking lot of the church, and I remember calling him and just started talking to him. And he was the same way. He had a room in his house, and
A sweet wife that allowed you in.
yeah, bless his heart. Damon and Tracy loved on me, and I would show up at their house sometimes in the most awkward times, and they would just let me go sleep in the room, and they would make me coffee in the morning. I would get up and leave. Sometimes we would talk. Sometimes we'd never say a word. They drug me on vacations, which I was a mess to say the least. That they would just drag me along with them, just make sure, basically Damon was like, just make sure you're still kicking and moving and doing life. And because I was like, I was just trying to figure out how to put a foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And so started understanding that and being like, okay, I got this. I can figure this out. I'm going to move forward. My awakening moment happened on a New Year's riding home from work. It was 12:20, and I had a little dog named Lily. I got her when I was by myself, so I'd have someone to talk to. Because I would have my kids for 7 days, and they would be with their mom for 7 days. And so those 7 days, I got a little black lab, and her name was Lily. And so we were riding home in the truck, and I was talking to her, which we happen a lot. I think she thought I had a lot of issues, which she knew. And I came to realization, it's like I was just talking to God, and I was like, this is not what I want my life to be. And I was like, I want to do these 3 things. I want to continue to grow closer to my friends, the men in my life, and that encouraged me to be better, a better Christian, better dad, a better man. I'm going to spend more time with my kids, and I'm not going to sacrifice my time with my family for money. And those were the 3 things. I said, I'm just going to do those 3 things and see what happens. And it's crazy. That was in a January, and I just started pursuing those things. And then we met in February. And it was kind of a crazy thing of, I had a buddy who just out of the blue called, and I was sitting on a zip line because that's one of the jobs that I had.
And that buddy was friends with a friend of mine, and they conspired to set us up.
Correct. And we agreed to have coffee.
And we had never met, didn't even know about each other.
Correct. I had never met Jess, didn't know her story, didn't know anything about her. I was still dealing with hurt. I was still, and we'll get into that at another date, that Jess says I was still in the women hater club.
You were.
But at the same time, I was like, I'll have coffee. That's all I can commit to. And so, me being the big roller high spender I am, we decided to meet at Waffle House and have coffee.
But it worked because my kids were in the karate studio that was attached, so I could just walk over there to meet you.
Correct. And so we had coffee in February. Long story short,
you proposed in July.
We proposed in July, and we were married in October.
Yeah.
And so here we are, 12 years later, about to be 13, with the idea of, let's start baggage claim. Let's start something that we can literally try to help people through. Even if you're in the beginning stages of that, where you're sitting in your garage or you're laying in the bed and you're trying to figure out how to move forward. Maybe if you're at that point, or maybe you're married, you're in this, you're trying to figure out how in the world.
It's harder than you thought it was going to be.
Yes, this isn't the picture perfect, fun journey that you thought it was going to be. How do we do this together? Then that's what this is about. That's what this place is about. And we're hoping to create a place where we can share those thoughts and ideas and concerns and all those things together as we walk through this. And we'll share more of our stories of how we got there, how we are. But just so you guys know, there's no, I want to say this though, like there's no animosity for, I know, because everyone looks at me, they hear Jess's story and they're like, oh, and then they're like, oh, Greg, what did you do?
What'd you do?
Yeah, why did you cheat? Why did you, there's no hard feelings toward my ex.
You didn't cheat.
I didn't. And so I did not do that. But at the same time, we have a relationship with them. We've drank coffee and we drank wine with them. We've had them in
table
our
that we're
house.
sitting at, we've had dinner here together.
Yeah, we've planned weddings together. We've had a lot of fun together, and I love seeing them prosper and growing. And so that's what we want to try to help create as a place where you can, if possible, co-parent. If not, do the best you can with what you have. And so we hope you join us as we continue to unfold our journey and share it with you and you guys. And though there may be tears, not sorry for the emotions. That's just who we are.
We're emotional people.
Yeah, we are. And, we're probably more emotional as we get older. But
and we're sappy.
Yes. But the idea, just so you know, baggage claim comes from Jess and I were sitting on somewhere just chatting. And she says, we all have baggage. Like we all come to relationships with baggage. And she goes, if we ever do our podcast thing, we should call it baggage claim. She goes, because we all have stuff.
You just have to claim it and use it to make yourself better.
Yeah. So we're going to ask you, as we unpack our bags for you and let you look through our suitcase, just like TSA does all the time.
That when we came back from police.
Yep. We're not strip searching. We're just going to ask you to unpack your bags with us and just go through the stuff. Then just, it is what it is. Let's claim it and just appreciate it and move on. So thank you guys for joining us at our table for our very first podcast. So I hope you join us again.